Drawing lots of details can be scary, especially when the details you are trying to draw are things like bright white hairs or tiny wrinkles. But then I discovered a really quick and easy technique and tool that just completely changed my drawings and allowed me to create so much more detail in them, not only faster, but just a lot easier as well. And the tool that I'm talking about is an indenting tool. And I got my pack of indenting tools from Amazon, but I'm sure you can get them from most craft stores. If you can't get your hands on a set of these, then you can just use something like an empty ballpoint pen that doesn't have any ink left in it, and that will give you similar results. So the key to getting in all of those white, tiny details for your drawings is to indent them first with this indenting tool. So after I have done my graphite sketch, but before I add any colour or shading to my drawing, I go in with my indenting tool and push down into the paper to create the markings wherever the white details are in the reference. This means that when you add coloured pencil on top of your paper or shade with a graphite pencil, the pencil lead won't be able to get into those grooves that you've just indented into the paper. This keeps your details white whilst allowing you to still shade freely and add your colour without having to worry about working around all of those tiny details. This technique really is great to use if you are drawing a portrait of an elderly person who has got a white beard or maybe some white eyebrow hairs. All you need to do is just take your indenting tool and indent those white hairs before you shade in the rest of the area. Or if you're drawing an animal with white fur or white whiskers, it can be a great way to preserve those tiny white hairs, especially if the animal has got like a mixture of white and darker fur. It can just make it so much easier. Now, one problem you may run into when using this technique is that it can actually be really hard to see where you are indenting when you're just indenting onto white paper. So I have found that it's actually a lot easier to see the indented markings if you look at the paper from a slight side angle rather than straight on. When you look at the drawing sideways, the grooves appear a lot more visible and it becomes easier to know where you have already indented. So that's just a little tip I have for using this technique. And the great thing about this technique is that it doesn't just work with white details. You can use it to help create lots of different textures and details in your drawings. You can do your base layers of shading to match the colour of the details and then indent the details before you go in with your darker pencils and darken up your shading for the rest of the area. You really can create a whole range of different textures with this art supply. So I recommend taking some time to sit and experiment with this tool and just give it a go at creating those different textures. The possibilities really are endless, and I'm sure there's lots of ways to use this tool that I haven't even thought of yet. I even recommend trying this tool out with different mediums. I mainly use it for colored pencil drawing, but there's no reason you can't use it for your graphite drawings. The more you practice this method, the more understanding you'll get as to what does and doesn't work, and then you can confidently use this technique to make your drawings even more realistic. And if you're looking for more ways to improve your drawings, then the next video that I recommend checking out is my video on 6 quick ways you can make better drawings, where I just go through some tips that you can use straight away in your drawings to see some big improvements. Check out that video here, and I will see you in my next one. Bye everybody.